doesn't really matter how you are going to pronounce it. So no problem.
Synaptial. Okay.
So now I see myself in Facebook.
Yes. See too.
Yeah.
You're right for the first time.
Nice.
Yes, nice, very nice. Technology is everything.
Yes.
Okay. We are early, so 9 minutes we will start. So it's time to talk around if we want. So Yasim, can you share your screen and show us where do you live in Morocco on Google Maps, so you guys know where you're from?
Yes.
From Morocco to Cape Verde.
So where is Cape Verde?
Okay, you have to.
the little points.
It's here.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to show it.
You are not far away.
Not really far.
Yes, I usually travel to Morocco just to go to another country. I never stay there.
And you go through Senegal?
No, to Morocco most of the time. I traveled 3 times to the continent, and first I go to the Nigeria. I was flying through Morocco's Casablanca. Next time I go to the Kenya. I was traveling also to Morocco, but then fly to Emirates Arabs and then come back to Kenya. Okay. And one more time to Guinea Equatorial, also through Casablanca.
Okay. Nice.
Yes. You guys put yourself in the fly business, really good, your country.
And there is a direct flight between Praia and Casablanca?
Yes, direct flight.
Sounds good.
Sometimes they do quick stop in Guinea-Bissau, but it's really quick stop. They don't stay there.
Just to get some people there and
go.
Continue. Okay. Nice. Very nice.
Guys, so the food there in Morocco is spicy?
They're a mix of spicy. Yeah, we eat a lot of spicy. So everything we put hot spicy in tagine, in couscous, in everything spicy. Not much, not like India, but we eat a lot of spicy.
You should see the Nigerians, guys. I go there in the hotel and then I ask for meat and they give me meat. And then I was 3 days without eating because the meat was too spicy. I was really thinking becoming a vegan because
Yeah, I see.
Despite that, kill
Yeah.
me.
And what's the best food in Cape Verde? Do you have what we call
Okay.
like Nigerian and Senegalese rice? What we call it? Chip.
Rice.
Let's say
Yes, chef. A mix of rice and meat and
rice
a
and
lot
meat,
of a lot of
chicken or
fish.
fish. Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, we have it here, but it's not national. It's the guys from Senegal and other countries who do.
Okay.
I like it so much. Here we have cachupa.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know cachupa?
No.
No? Google it, how to spell it for you. Innkeeper, yes. Go to images. Yes, that is it. Cachupa.
This one?
Yes, that's
Cachupa.
cachupa. We say refogado, but is
So this is what? This is banana?
banana.
Yeah,
No, this
aloco?
is corn. I think I spelled it wrong, but it's I would say it's corn. But I don't know how to spell it right in English, but it's
Okay. Cachupa.
yeah. He also take meat. You can put it with the fish too if you want. Corn.
Cachupa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, cachupa is made with corn.
Corn.
Yeah, I
Yes.
see.
Corn. We can mix it with the fish, what else we want.
Beans and cassava, sweet potato. Nice.
Yeah, it's it's really famous here in the breakfast. Yeah.
Just to let the guys who are watching through the live in Facebook, if you want to join the Zoom, please go to the post. Yasin, go to the Facebook group. As you're sharing the screen, go to the Facebook group and in the live, go in the yes, there. Okay.
Where?
Just show the link in the announcement I did. Go down and more. Yes. Show the link more. Please, guys, join the group in the link in the post. Just fill the form in the Zoom. You can be in the meet directly and ask a questions directly to Yasim at the end of the meeting.
Okay, I will share a direct link if they want to join directly.
Yes, do that. Is more. They don't need to fill the.
So, okay, we'll. Where is the link?
Yeah, Yasin, I already do this for you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's good.
Okay, more 2 minutes and we will begin.
Okay. Nice.
So, Yasin, do you have child, family?
Yeah, I have 3 children. I'm very old, 36 years. I have I have one girl and two boys.
2 boys. Nice. So you close the do you have close it for business, or do you expect to have more?
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
The third one was not really expected, but he is here.
Yeah, I have for myself one goal. Maybe in 10 years I will try a boy to play soccer and PlayStation. But
Don't do like me, just to have do not have too much year between one child and one child. For me, between the first and the second, it was 8 years, so it was too long. Just keep like 2 years, 3 years, so they can live together, they can grow together.
okay.
So 3 years, it's okay. Just 2-3 years and have another child. Yeah, it's good.
Tell that to Kevin because I don't think
Kevin,
he can make babies.
Kevin, you have two more years, and you have to go on
Yeah, yeah.
out of Facebook.
Yeah, I'm new. I'm new. I'm not from your group. Father's group.
You are coming. You are coming. You are coming.
Okay. Let's go 9 minutes. We will start. So it's time to look around if we want. Okay. Guys, one more time. The live we are doing, mais uma vez, falando em português, live que nós só fazer ela a partir de Zoom. Zoom te permite fazer assim a pergunta direto. Então, portanto, quem é que está assiste através de live na Facebook, ainda está espaço na Zoom, nós usa link que Kevin já partilha na grupo, para nós entra na chat na Zoom, ok?
Bruce,
Yes.
essa coisa também possa pergunta na Facebook e então só te acompanha também na Facebook, então pega que essa pergunta e traz para me responder, yeah?
Ok.
Então quem é que cada poder entrar na Zoom?
So Yasim, a few days ago we did our first meet online like this one with the Kevin, and Kevin just did nice presentation. So the bar is raised for you. You have to overcome the presentation Kevin did about data science, and
I will do my best. I don't have the same level as Kevin, so I will try to do my best.
Yes.
He is the boss.
No. Don't give me that famous
he put the level very high, but
don't do that.
I will try to do my best as I can. I don't have the same level as Kevin, so I will try to do my best. He is the boss.
Kevin, just
No. Don't give me that famous
he put the level very high, but
Kevin, I have to mute you. You are talking to this.
I see mini Kevin. What happened?
I don't know. I think
Bruce, it's not me. I think that is Yasin, maybe.
No, it's not me.
That have live on Facebook. Open.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man? Your name is Kevin.
It's not me. It's not me. I think that it's Yassin.
Kevin, all the participants is becoming you with your name. What do you share?
Okay, maybe it's is in my link.
Yes.
And Kevin Cabell.
Okay. So they are joining from the comment you posted from Facebook.
Yeah.
So they are joining on your name. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Please try to go to the participant buttons in the lower screen and rename your and put your name instead of the Kevin Cabral name, so we know who
A lot of
okay.
different copy of Cabral. You look like a Cabral, so it's normal.
Ok. Bruce, se calhar na crioulo pessoal podia entender melhor. Mas está fazendo muito plágio ali.
Claro, rapaz. Quem é que está na lista de participantes? Na Zoom, tem um botão na fundo do ecrã e também lá bota renome aquele nome de Kevin Cabral para o nome, assim para não poder saber quem é que está pergunta ou quem é que está na chat, ok? Se não conte. Ok, mané, peraí. Team Kevin is dying.
Ok. Próximo, acho que...
Yeah, that's
so let's start with the first part of our meeting. Nós começa com essa primeira parte de encontro e primeiro bem-vindo a nosso segundo encontro online nesse espaço de partilha aberto que tem, uma conversa aberta, onde que nós sempre trazemos e pessoa ali para bem partilha um bocadinho de sua experiência, de seu conhecimento, ou de seu entusiasmo perante a uma tecnologia, ok? E após aquela exposição que fazia, nós também temos tempo de perguntas e respostas, ok? Onde que nós tenta ir mais a fundo ou ter mais daquela pessoa que fazia aquela exposição ali, seu conhecimento e bata troca e experiência. Nós tenta e bastante para aquele sessão ali fica acontece de semana em semana. Não tive ali um jump de duas semanas, mas não tenta trabalhar mais e para a próxima semana para não ter novo alguém e um novo tópico e sim nós repara não sei e com tópicos bastante interessantes. Kevin e 2 semanas atrás fazendo showcase ali de data science e mais especificamente naquele lado de machine learning e hoje e assim está trazendo plataforma Elasticsearch, ok? Não também hoje o que serve e o resto não deixa para e assim completa, só que nós sessão está ser na inglês porque assim é de Marrocos, ok? E não está tenta pôr sessão na inglês para não poder estar para poder entendendo e para nós não poder ter uma comunicação também com ele e interagir com ele. Então a partir de agora então deixa de falar na crioulo e não tá switch para inglês e que não tem medo de falar nos inglês de Santa Luzia, que ele é de nós. Não tenta o máximo participa partilha desse momento ali com o Yassim para não poder sair dali com algo acrescentado e partilhar um bom momento licenciando entre nós. So Yassim, now we will speak only English. But basically, I was presenting this series to the guys and introduce you a little bit of what you will talk about today. This is our community. People are joining right now. We are not a big community. We are about 400 people in this community of Facebook.
It's a big community. 400.
Yes, and we are glad to have you here. We thank you so much to your availability to be here to talk to us. I don't know what time is now in Morocco.
It's around 7.
Around 7. So probably you should go to the dinner, but bear with us today, and we are here to listen to you, to learn from you. And like I told you before, Kevin last 2 weeks gave a nice presentation, and the bar is set high to you.
Very high.
I believe you will overcome, Kevin, and the next guy will be in trouble. So I will just let Kevin give a few words, because this section is happening because of Kevin. He was the one who introduced me to Yassim, and who is doing the bridge between me and Yassim. So Kevin, thank you very much. You are being a good contributor to this community. So Kevin, please tell us a little bit, how do you know Yassim, and how do you be in contact with him, and why you talk to this guy we don't know, and hopefully we will know right now.
Okay.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I was first meeting with Yassin at the LinkedIn. He made me an invitation, and after that, we start with a hi, of course, and then I see that Yassin is a co-founder of a great company at Morocco, that is Synaptial, right? Synaptial is a company that has embarked on a big data revolution by introducing S1, that is a big data analytics and a complex event processing platform developed specifically to the telecommunication industry, okay? Is the main thing that Synaptial works on. And Yassin is a solution architect, okay? Work with the OSS/BSS. That means Operation Support Systems and Business Support Systems. Of course, the distinction, emphasis, separation of concern between maintain network operations and the business around which that network is built. And Yassin is also Elasticsearch certified engineer, okay? Is what I have to share with you guys about Yassin. And of course, I am so happy, Yassin, to be here with us, right? First time to to meet people from Cabo Verde. Okay, and I share about us about the great open source technology that is Elasticsearch, right? Okay, Yasin, go
Thank you,
ahead.
thank you, thank you, thank you, Cabral. So it's really a pleasure to be with you today, to be with the nice people from Cape Verde. I was really surprised that there is an existing community in Cape Verde that is more involved in software development. So when I meet Kevin and we started talking about Cape Verde, what the community is doing, I started doing some research on Google, and I was really surprised about what you are doing there for the community. So it's a really pleasure to be with you, and I would like to thank you for this opportunity you give me to share with you our how we think that open source technology can help us a lot, especially in Africa. So thank you, Kevin, for the connection, and thank you, Bruce, for that. I will, as already Kevin did, he presented me exactly. So I'm Yassin Lasri, solution architect for 12 years. I have worked mainly for telecom in industry, and the last 3 years I started to be more interested in Elasticsearch technology and open source technology, and how to use open source technology to solve unsolved problem. So today, and actually the next generation of software that is able to process a lot of data is the real trend in the world. And most of the solutions that exist on the market are most of the time based on open source. So I will just start first by giving you an example. We will look at a simple application that is called Yelp, and we will start getting an overview about what is Yelp. So if you look at Google, Yelp is a web platform that is only here for crowdsourced review about business. So everyone can go to Yelp and provide a comment or a review about a business. For example, I'm visiting a restaurant in Paris, and I will start looking what people are saying about this restaurant. So first, when I try to search the information about the location and the business topic that I want, the first thing in the application, I have really a simple search bar. So I can just start typing what I want to search. For example, I want to search about sushi. So I typed the sushi, so I get a correction. I choose to search in Paris. So let's go, a simple search experience, and I get the list of restaurants that are giving food in sushi. So in this page, for example, I have the list of the hits that corresponding to my search request, and I have a pagination, so I can go from page 1 to page 2 and so on. So those are all basic functionality that any web platform, web application, e-commerce application must have actually. And on the left, I have some filters, so I can filter really what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for restaurants that are less than 99 euro as a price, because I don't have enough money, and I want Japanese food for example. and I have many different filter on the left. And I can see that the results are sorted by different criteria. So they are really sorted by default by people recommendation, by the highest rate, or by another criteria. And on the right, I can filter based on location. So I can just click somewhere and I get the result filtered. So, and when I go to a specific item, I can provide a review. So the review is a score that I can provide to this business and a review. So the review is really a text. Then what is more interesting is that when I view the details of this item, I can see some recommendation. I can see that, yeah, people that have viewed this item have already viewed the other items. So this is a kind of recommendation. So when you see all these features, so all these features are really a search-based feature. And there is only one platform that can provide these capabilities, and this platform is Elasticsearch. So let's go back to my slide. So what is Elasticsearch? So Elasticsearch, this is the main technology differentiation. When you think about Elasticsearch, think about it for 3 reasons. The scale, because for example, Yelp is a web application that around 150 million people got visiting this application every month. And it's containing a huge amount of data, especially reviews. So imagine an application that can handle search requests for more than 150 million users every month. So it needs to be scalable by design. Then I'm here to look for the information. So I need the information at the speed. I need a response in some milliseconds. And I need the high relevant information first. I don't want to lose time to get really the information. So these are the 3 criteria why we need to use Elasticsearch, is because scale is mandatory if we have a huge amount of data. And if we have a huge amount of data and we need to search at speed, we need this criteria speed and we need the relevance. So really, if it depends on your use case. If your use case, you need these 3 criteria, think directly about Elasticsearch. Do not look for something else. If your application will not handle a lot of data, so it will not need a scale, and it will not need the relevance, it will not handle the full text search. So maybe this is not the right use case for Elasticsearch. So just keep in mind these 3 criteria as a technology differentiation for Elasticsearch. So let's now dig a little deeply. What is Elasticsearch? So first, it's a full text search engine. It's built to be a search engine, and especially for structured or unstructured data. Actually, if you want to search like a Google, think about Elasticsearch. And there are many platforms that they are using Elasticsearch in the backend, especially Amazon, Facebook, and other company. Wherever you have a full text and you want to search and you want the relevance, think about Elasticsearch. Also, Elasticsearch is a NoSQL database. So as you know, there are many different types of NoSQL database, but Elasticsearch is a document-oriented database. what we store in Elasticsearch, we store JSON document. And it's also an analytics engine. It provides a really great framework for analytics aggregation. And it's written in Java. And it's based on Lucene. So Lucene is the most popular indexing and searching framework open source. It have more than 30 years that exist. So there is a big community that is maintaining Lucene, and you will find also Lucene is used also on what we call Solar. So Solar is similar to Elasticsearch, but it have another architecture and different use cases. Elasticsearch is very easy to scale. What we mean by scale, we mean that actually with the relational database, if we have more data and we need more processing and more power, we need to scale vertically the machine or the server, so we cannot put different server horizontally because there are different constraints, because SQL database are not made to be distributed. They are made for different things to manage transaction, persistence, and consistency. So to have really scale, you need to lose some constraints. So NoSQL database are losing transaction to have more speed and more scale. So Elasticsearch is really horizontally scaled. It's resilient, means that when you lose a node, another node can keep the cluster working. And what is important also is very standard, means it uses an interface, a RESTful interface. So you can exchange, communicate with Elasticsearch using only HTTP and JSON. So any language, any programming language can communicate with Elasticsearch. It's what we call schemaless. Schemaless, that means if we want to write data into Elasticsearch, we don't need really to design a schema like a SQL table. But that's not really true, because we will see later, because this is something that helps to start quickly, test and prove that the use case will work with Elasticsearch, but then you need really to define a schema. It's real-time engine, means that in some millisecond you search, you get the result because behind it's Lucene and it's distributed. And what's important also, it's open source. It's under Apache 2 license. And it's the heart of what we call the ELKA stack, the Elastic stack. This is just to give you some overview of how to interact with Elasticsearch. So in order to search the data, you need to ingest the data inside Elasticsearch. And as Elasticsearch publish a RESTful API, you can use simply a curl to send data to Elasticsearch, or you can use really any framework, any language, any programming language to interact with Elasticsearch. Interact mean ingest the data and search the data, update the data, and do whatever you want. Elastic is providing some official client that they are maintained, especially in C#, Go, Java, JavaScript, Perl, PHP, Python, Ruby, and also SQL. So those are official clients that are maintained by Elastic. So that these clients, they provide you a helper to interact with Elasticsearch to integrate it into your application. And now if you are using any other language that is not officially supported, you need to go to a low-level REST and send JSON data to Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch also have some advanced feature, especially because we put a lot of data into Elasticsearch, and sometimes sensitive data. So Elasticsearch provide security tools. So it provides you tools to encrypt the data before ingesting into Elasticsearch. So that provide you the ability to be RGPD compliant and others. It provides you authentication, authorization, permission. It gives you very deeply permission on every document you put into Elasticsearch. It provides a monitoring tool because it's a central repository where you will put a lot of data. So you need to monitor the system. If you need to monitor the disk storage, performance, search response, ingest response. So it provides a lot of tools for monitoring. It provides a high level framework of alerting. Alerting is very important because you detect a specific behavior and change on the data, and then you send an alert to different channel. It provides also SQL standard language. So people that are very familiar with SQL, if they go directly to Elasticsearch, they can start interact with SQL before going to specific query language of Elasticsearch. So they provide ODBC, GDBC if you want to interact directly with the Elasticsearch. It provides also some time series. Time series are very important to track the behavior of data on the time. And on the top of all that, Elasticsearch provides a nice framework for machine learning. So what is Elastic Stack? So Elastic Stack is 4 components. The principal component is really Elasticsearch. So Elasticsearch is really the heart of the Elastic Stack. It's the main place where we will store the data, and then we will connect client to retrieve and analyze the data. So how we will ingest the data into Elasticsearch? So Elastic provide 2 components for ingesting. A component that is called beats. So those are a light chip agent that we can deploy on different server to get the data and transport it into Elasticsearch. And whenever we need to process the data, to clean the data, to enrich the data before ingestion, we use Logstash. So Logstash, let's take it like an ETL, a tool centralized to extract, transform, and load. And it's a really highly scalable, resilient, and it can be integrated with different brokers like Kafka, Redis, and it can do many things about the data. It can transform the data, it can enrich the data, it can filter the data, and the most important, it can correlate the data. Means that you have different events coming from different sources, but for the same entity. So Logstash is able to correlate all this data into one entity and send it to Elasticsearch. So all the data is stored into Elasticsearch. So we need a UI to retrieve the data, to visualize the data. So this is Kibana. So the Kibana is the window for all the stack. It's the window to go and view, explore the data, and provide visualization, dashboarding, and analysis. And it's also the stack monitoring and administration. So from Kibana, we can create, user, manage permission, manage access to the data. We can monitor the health of the Beats agent, the Logstash pipelines. We can monitor how many data store in Elasticsearch, what is the capacity storage, what are the metrics for search, response, and ingest process. So this is what we call Elastic Stack. So in the beginning, it was called ELKA stack. ELK, just to say it's Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. And later they bring another component called Beats, and instead of call it LKB, they choose it to call it Elastic Stack. But in internet, you can see that they call it LK Stack or Elastic Stack, so it's the same thing. Okay, so here are some already existing file beats, some beats that already developed by Elastic and maintained by a community. So those are really small binary that you can deploy on any server, and they don't consume a lot of memory. They don't consume resources of computing. They are just here on the server to read the log and send it back to Logstash or Elasticsearch. So there are different category. There are file bit that can read log from Tomcat, from Apache, from any. There are about hundreds of standard modules that exist already on FileBeat. For example, if you have Oracle, a SQL Server, MySQL, PostgreSQL database, so those tools generate logs in a standard format that FileBeat can ship them directly to Elasticsearch. So you don't need to develop a process for ingesting these logs. You need just to install FileBeat, configure it, and you have data directly into Elasticsearch. You have metric bits, which is very important to collect metric about systems. So it can collect how many memory, how many CPU is used, how much disk is available, and so on. Packet bit is very useful to capture network traffic, what we call net flow. So you can install it on a host and you start sniffing all TCP, EDP traffic and send it back to Elasticsearch for, this is mainly used for security analysis. WinLog bit is used to collect Windows log from any endpoint, from any server. And audit bit is used to collect Unix, Linux logs. And heartbeat is really used to monitor services. So if your application have 1,000 microservices and 1,000 endpoint IPA, and you need to monitor the availability of all these services, you need just to install Heartbeat and configure the endpoint, and Heartbeat will check every 5 seconds, for example, if the service is available, and send it back to Elasticsearch. So later we will see what Elastic has done with all this data. They built some solution to take advantage of all this data. Second component is Logstash. So Logstash is what we call a pipeline data processing. So it has 3 stages. It accepts some inputs. So you can imagine, for example, here you have some specific code that send data to Logstash, or some bits that already deployed and send data to Logstash. So input will generate, will read the data, intercept the data, and generate different events, and filters will modify the events. So modify the event means that I can parse the event, I can change some field, I can normalize, I can rename fields, I can enrich the data, I can correlate with different source, and so means I'm preparing a clean event, because the data I need to normalize and clean it to process it. And the output is to distribute the data to a third-party system. And the most important is that we send data to Elasticsearch. We can send data to another system. For example, I can distribute file with different format using some specific filter. I can send data to SQL database. I can send data to another broker like Kafka, for example. And here the same. I can receive the data from SQL database. I can stream the data from Kafka. I can receive the data in what we call net flow. So let's imagine we have a network where there are a lot of switches, router that generate a lot of syslog. So I can configure that router to send directly the syslog to Logstash. So that Logstash can start read this syslog and process it and send it back to Elasticsearch. So that's really the job of Logstash. So the main difference between Logstash and Beats is that Beats are here just to ship the data. They don't really process the data. They are just here to ship the data. And Logstash is here to process heavily the data, to do more stuff. So Logstash is a server-side component, and Beats, it's really a client that I can deploy on my laptop, on my server, just to ship the data. So this is the main stack, 4 component. To do what exactly? To ship the data, to process the data, and to bring the data here in Elasticsearch. But the most important is in business is to provide solution or application that can do something with this data. So Elastic by default provide 3 solutions. The first one is more related to search use cases. The second one is related to the concept of observability of infrastructure and application and systems. And the third use case is really related to security, and more specifically to cybersecurity. And let's see every solution, what is the main purpose of every solution. So first is what we call search solution. The first one is what we call site search. So if you have a website and you want to add a search experience very quickly, you want to add a search bar just to search in full text mode in your website, just to get what is the page or the blog post that is talking about. So use search site. So it will connect to your website, crawl it, index it into Elasticsearch, and provide you a small piece of code that you can use in your website, and you have instantly a search bar in your website to power search. Now you have more sophisticated application, like for example an e-commerce application. So here the use case is different. You need more criteria or more sophisticated search. Means that like what I do in the beginning with the Yelp.com website, I have a search bar, but I need to add facet on the left to filter what I'm looking for. I need geo-analytic search on the right, and I need to order by the relevance or by the price, and I want to specify a range of price. So for all that, use what we call Upsearch. So Upsearch, it provides out-of-the-box experience to quickly add a search experience to your e-commerce application. The third solution is workplace search. It's a really enterprise search. So imagine in your enterprise you have a lot of document, PDF, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and you have document in Google Drive, in OneDrive, in Dropbox. You have document in SharePoint. I want to bring all this data into the same place so you can search them quickly. So think about workplace search. So those are 3 solutions that are available on the top of the Elastic. So all the solutions, they use mainly Elasticsearch, if not all the component, but always Elasticsearch is there. Second solution is what we call observability. So what is observability? So in a simple definition is, imagine you have let's say in your enterprise you have built an application and you have used, for example, in our experience, we build application using Spring Boot framework for the backend services, and we use a mix of Angular and React.js for front end, and we use PostgreSQL as a database and Elasticsearch for observability and search. And with Spring Boot, it allows us to build thousands of microservices. And let's imagine that each microservice is deployed in a separate Docker. And each microservices is using a database that is also deployed in a microservice in a Docker. So observability is the ability to bring all the logs and metrics and APM traces in a single place, and also metric related to the availability of each microservices. So imagine a place where you have all these logs, all these metrics, all these traces, and all these uptime metric in the same place. This is what Elastic call observability. So in the same UI in Kibana, you are able to see what happened in your infrastructure, what are the servers that are up, what are the services that are up, and even more, if you have an error or a performance issue, you can go deeply into Elastic observability and go down and see what is exactly the transaction and which step, which microservices there is an issue, and you can see the stack traces and all that in the same place. So that's what is Elastic observability. The third solution, sorry. The third solution is Elastic security. So imagine the same application that we have talked just before. So this application is installed on a data center or in a cloud, and there are a lot of people that they are accessing this application. Now, from the security perspective, in your enterprise, you have maybe thousands of people that is using a laptop and that is connecting to the network of the enterprise, and they are accessing these application, this system, and maybe with COVID-19, they are accessing remotely to these services. So with Elastic Stack, bringing all this log, even from the endpoint, from the laptop, from switches, from firewall, from any equipment on the network on the same place, that's prepare you to provide what we call security operations center. So in security operations center, you need to have what we call SIEM, security information and event management. So you are bringing all the data into the same place, and this data is correlated. Means that there is a user that have an LDAP or Active Directory username, and that is connecting from one laptop, from one IP addresses that is not located in Cape Verde, and he is accessing to SharePoint, and he is downloading one specific document that is classified confidential, and he is uploading this document to another website. So all these events are correlated and bring it into Elastic SIEM, and you can create what we call detection rules, and you can configure this rule as a threat. And when you get this data, you can get an alert that there is an action that it should not happen. And you can go back to Elastic SIEM and understand what happened. Now, if you wanna protect from this to not happen, there is what we call endpoint security. So endpoint security is, it's like a sensor that you can deploy on every endpoint that communicate with Elasticsearch and that can detect and block the threat. And combining these two tools, we bring the experience of Security Operation Center. So that's the big picture of what is Elasticsearch from the security perspective. This is a real picture of just a small, let's say, I will not say a network operation center or security operation center, but a small piece where we are displaying some screen and we are projecting some Kibana dashboard. So this is to monitor some applications, some web services, and also to monitor the availability and how many connection in a map. So in real world, it look like this. And whenever you see a vendor that is coming and that is talking about observability, about distributed tracing, bringing the log in the same time, real-time scalability, I can say that at 90%, make sure that this Elasticsearch is behind. Big picture on Elastic Stack solution. Now let's talk about how all these tools can be deployed. So there are different model of deployment. So the very easy one is standalone. So you can connect to elastic.co website and download the binary and install it on your computer, and it's okay. If you don't have enough time, you can go directly to Elastic Cloud and you can start 40 days trial for free. You have Elasticsearch, Kibana, APM, observability, and you can start, learn, and practice. Now, you can also deploy Elastic on your private cloud. Means that, okay, you wanna deploy it on your data center, but you don't want to manage the cluster, because the cluster can start with 2-3 nodes, but it can goes quickly to 100 node. So if you want to add new node, remove a node, upgrade a node, upgrading to major version, so it become very difficult. So you can choose to deploy what we call Elastic Cloud Enterprise. It have some mechanism of what we call orchestration. And Elastic Cloud Enterprise is based on it's like what we call ESXi in VMware. So you can install it, you can boot your server with Elastic Cloud Enterprise, and it provides you a beautiful UI when you can go and provision your cluster of 10 node, 15 node as you want, and behind it use Docker to deploy quickly different instance. Also, it's also available if you have a cloud based on Kubernetes. So there is an agent that help you to deploy Elasticsearch on Kubernetes. And Elastic Cloud is available on Amazon, on AWS, on Azure, and Google also. And how, let's talk quickly about the licensing business model. So basically Elastic, or all the stack, all the component of the stack are open source. Okay, means that the open source distribution, I can deploy it on my cloud and I can provide this service, and I can ask you to pay me for these services. I'm not selling you the software, but I'm selling you the services of managing the software on the cloud. So this is the business model that works, and this is what Amazon did. So when you see Elasticsearch on Amazon services, it's not Elastic Cloud, it's Amazon, and it's based on the open source version. And there is what we call the basic distribution. So the basic distribution is not open source, but it's free. Means that you cannot deploy, you can deploy it on your cloud, but it's for private usage. You can use it for free, but you cannot sell it for people because it has a different licensing model. So for your requirement in your enterprise, you can freely use basic services, basic subscription, and use it as you want. Now you want to distribute it, you need to distribute it differently. For example, at Synapticel as an OM partner, we use the basic distribution because it provides more feature than the open source version. But we distribute it with the same license of Elastic license. So we don't overcharge the customer anything. What we charge the application that we have built on the top of this basic license. We don't charge this service. Now, you want commercial support, there are two other subscription. And the commercial support means that you have support and you have access to commercial feature. For example, let's say machine learning, it's not provided in open source and it's not provided in the basic, but it's provided in the platinum. Advanced feature security are provided in gold and so on. So this is the licensing model. It's open source, but with commercial support. And commercial support comes with advanced feature. Okay. This is a high-level picture of how all the components can work together. One of the big major point of Elastic is because it's a stack. A stack means that different components that already compatible between them. So you can easily configure and bring them together to work together. So I can easily install, let me, in my application, let's say I have a Node.js application. Okay, so I can install an agent, what we call APM agent, Application Performance Management Agent. It's just a library in Node.js that I can import in my application, and it will help me to instrument my application step by step. I need just to span, this is a transaction, and this is the step when this transaction will call a REST API, and then it will send the request to the database. And then I can instrument automatically in Elastic Observability the behavior of my application. If there is any exception or trace, I need to go directly to Elastic Observability in Kibana and see what happened. I don't need to go and open log file or provide some grep command on Linux to search what happened exactly. I need just to go to Kibana and see what happened. So all this information go through what we call an APM server, and APM server send the data to Elasticsearch. Same thing, if my application use Docker and use PostgreSQL, Oracle, and so every component of of these application generate logs, so I can configure FileBeat and send the data directly to Elasticsearch. So in the same place, I have traces for performance, I have logs, and I can bring other data from other sources directly to Elasticsearch or enrich them with Logstash. Then I can use Kibana to visualize, or I can use my own framework for UI. I can use Angular or React.js, for example, and I can use any official client to connect to Elasticsearch and bring the data. Okay, so this is the big picture of what is Elastic Stack, what are the components, what are the solution on the top, what are the use case where what you can use Elastic. So now the question is where and when and how you can start. So don't try to do a Google search and try to search what is Elasticsearch, how I can use it. Go directly to elastic.co and just download the Elasticsearch, download Kibana, Logstash, Beat, and just start. In elastic.co, there is a lot of resources. There are the official documentation, which is very structured. There is a nice blog with nice posts that explain different use cases. And there are a lot of video on the blog or on their channel in YouTube, where they explain a lot of use cases. There is a channel on Slack where you can ask directly the community most of the time. Sorry, those are developers that working directly with Elastic. And there is a forum discussion when you can post your problem, and maybe in 2-3 hours, there is someone who can respond you. So don't hesitate. Just go to elastic.co and start. I will show you how to do. Ignore. So this is the website. If you go here, just you see that there are 3 solutions, but they are all built on the top of component. So go just to every component and just download it. For example, the most important is Elasticsearch. So the last version is 7.7.1, and there is a binary for Windows, for Debian, RPM for Red Hat. If you want to start with Docker, there is a repository with Docker. I recommend you, if you are familiar with Docker, go quickly with Docker. It's very easy to bring up an instance of Elasticsearch with 1, 2, 3, 4 node, and bring Kibana, Logstash, and start quickly simulating a real architecture. If you are not familiar with Docker, just go and download the binary for Windows or for Linux, install it, and it's quickly. And here you have steps what to do. It's very easy. Then how to learn? Just start here. We have official documentation. So this is the real point of start. It's a huge documentation, but in every product there is how to start. Let's say, for example, you want to start with Elasticsearch, you can go here and start here, getting started with Elasticsearch. And you have the explanation on how to, and it's very organized. You can have also a lot of video on how to start. You can also visit their channel on YouTube. They have a lot of webinar. You can just choose what to watch, and that's it. Most of them are in English, and you can start. And there is a developer directly from Elastic that is talking about a subject. Let's say a time series data visualization, treat hunting, Kibana, and so on. If you are more interested on how to develop application, how to interact, you will find some webinar. Some developers show you how to use PHP client to interact with Elasticsearch, how to use Spring Boot, for example, how to use Node.js official client to interact, and so on. There is a forum. If you go to discusselastic.co, so you have a use case, you have a question, you need just to write a question, and there is someone will help you. If you provide all the necessary information related to your problem, you will get someone really that will give you a help. I'm active from time to time because for visibility. So if you want people to respond you need to contribute. You need also to respond to different people. So you start as a beginner, you post question, and there are people from the community that respond you. But step by step, you get the experience. You need to help also the community. You need to respond to the beginner also. So you share your experience so that in the future, if you have more complicated question, the community can say, yes, this guy is very active, so let's give him some hints. So the forum is not really to give 100% solution, but to give hints, because there are really people that have worked with real use case, so they can give you some hints. Yeah, you don't use this, use this. And if you want to be more involved on the development of the component, you want to contribute to component. For example, in our company, we customize some plugins, especially for Beats. Just to give you an idea about the stack, every component, there is a framework that you can use to develop your custom component. I'll just give you for example, you can develop your specific bits using Golang. If you have a specific data source that is not supported by open source bits, you can develop your own bits. So that's what we do most of the time with telecom network devices. They are most of the time legacy and proprietary, and we don't found resources on internet, so we develop our own bits. Same thing in Logstash. We can develop what we call a plugin to input the data, to generate event, and to send it as output. Here we use Java as a language with a mixed with Ruby. Also in Elasticsearch, if we need to develop a new REST API that does not exist in Elasticsearch, we use Java, simple Maven project in Java, and we implement some method in specific interfaces from the framework of Elasticsearch, and we develop our specific plugin. The same thing in Kibana, because Kibana is the UI, and inside Kibana we can develop a plugin that provide another experience of the UI. And most of the time here we use a lot of React.js. So plugins, if you are involved in plugins, I suggest you go and you subscribe to a channel in Slack. And in Slack, there are different channels. There is usually one channel for every for every component of the product. And you can ask directly specific question, and there are developers from the community that can respond quickly on 2-3 hours. And here again, they will not respond with the real response, but if you put exactly what's the problem. For example, last week we had an issue how to migrate from 7.7 to 7.8 our plugin in Kibana, because they release a new version with some breaking chains in Node.js API. So we just put some hints, and they give you some hints. They say, okay, go to this blog and go to GitHub to our repository. There is an explanation what are the breaking changes that we made and how to migrate from this version to this mesh. So to get more relevant response, go to Slack. It's very important. What else? Now, if you want to go deeply and get more advanced level, for example, in our company, one of the target we want to be an official partner of Elastic. And to be an official partner, there are a set of requirements. You need to have 2 or 3 engineers that have followed some specific training, and you need to have at least 1 engineer that is certified. So at a certain level, when you start practicing Elasticsearch and learning on the documentation, you will see that it's very huge, and you will never cover all the core of the technology. So one of the important, there are 2 training, Elasticsearch Engineer 1 and 2, that they really provide you the main topic that you should focus on to get really the high level of the technology and what is happening behind the scene. So I recommend, if you want to go a high level expertise, go with Elasticsearch Engineer 1 and 2, and that prepare you for the certification. Actually, there are 3 parts of certification. The most important is to be an Elasticsearch engineer. Why? Because as I said, the heart of the Elastic Stack is Elasticsearch. So imagine you are bringing, for example, 1 terabyte of data every day. And because there is a compliance regulation that you should respect, for example, if you are a bank and you have the PCI DSS requirement, you should keep 1 year of log. So imagine 1 terabyte a day for 1 year should be live on a cluster. And the cluster may be 50 nodes. And your team should query the data and treat hinting and do many stuff at scale, at speed, with relevance. They should not see that there is an issue or latency. So, and this is the job of Elasticsearch. So you need to know Elasticsearch from, as a DevOps engineer, from the development, as 80% of the knowledge should be at development, how to develop application, how to retrieve, how to query, and 20% as an operation engineer, how to maintain the cluster, because the cluster should be performant, how to migrate data, because usually you search live in 3 months, you don't search on all the years, so you need to schedule the data. So the very important certification is Elasticsearch Engineer. The second one is more related to data analyst, that they want to have experience on data visualization. It's more focused on data visualization, data analysis, how to run, how to create machine learning job. And this is not really related to Elasticsearch Engineer. So you can go and get certified as a data analyst without being a certified engineer. The third one is, it's in the roadmap, is what we call observability engineer, that engineer that are able to to bring and monitor application system in one place. So I recommend you to go with these two training. They are very important, and they give you really the expertise you need, and they prepare you for this certification. For me, for example, I'm using Elasticsearch maybe 3 years, but at some use case in production, I was in many trouble because I don't have the big picture of all the use case. When I get a real problem, I start learning from the documentation and so on. So I spend a lot of time on learning. And when I take the Elasticsearch Engineer 1 and 2, it brings a lot of capability, a lot of pointer for each use cases. I have pointer in my mind, yeah, I need to use this feature and not this feature. And especially, it gives you also the capability of thinking about the scale at the design in the beginning, because the way you design your system, it will give you an idea how your system will behave in 2-3 months. So that's important to give you some tips how to optimize computing resources, storage, memory, and because the challenge is to keep a balance between the cost of the infrastructure and the performance of the application. You should not say, yeah, to get performant application, I need 50 server. No, you can start by 2 or 3 server, and inside this 2 or 3 server, you can deploy a cluster with 15 nodes, and with an optimized architecture, you can respond to the use case with the resource you have. So that's the big picture, and that's it. And now, if you have question, I'm here. I'm listening to you. You are very welcome. Kevin.
Hello, Yasin.
If you can just give me 2 minutes, I will bring my charger and I come back.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Guys, until Yasim return, if you are watching in the Facebook Live and you want to ask Yasim a question, please join the Zoom, because right now I will give the opportunity to someone who has a question to say. Okay, if you don't want to say, I will just read the question I have in the chat and in the chat Zoom, in the chat from Facebook to Yasim. But for me, to be good is you to ask directly to Yasim, and we can do it as a community. This is not a conversation between me and Kevin and Yasin, but this is a conversation with all of us, and we bring the Zoom to this moment so we can let you guys be a part and share your thoughts about the event, okay, and ask the guy who is sharing the knowledge your question directly. So don't be shy. We and Yasin, he is mandatory to answer the question, and we will do like this. We go to, I think, from the Zoom, from the participant panel. Okay, you can go there, and I don't know.
There is a chat. There is a chat tab.
Chat, but you don't have the raise your hands. I don't think you have to raise your hands in Zoom. But if you want to ask Yasim a question, just ask, okay? And let's moderate it to not talk to two guys at the same time.
I will start by the question that are already sent via chat.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a question from Aderito Cruz. The question is, can we use Elasticsearch as an existing database to take advantage of the Elastic, and if possible, a showcase preview of how to? Can we use Elasticsearch on an exist? So as my understanding, we have an existing database that hold a lot of data, okay? And we want to use Elasticsearch. Okay, there are the idea is simple. You can use Logstash. I will go here, for example. You can use Logstash, and you can bring all the data that you have in your database into Elasticsearch, because Elasticsearch is a storage engine, so it's a database, and in order to search and analyze, you have to store the data in your Elasticsearch. So to do that, you can use Logstash, and in Logstash there is a input plugin that's called JDBC. And all what you need to do is just to provide the URL of the database, the login, the password, the query, the SQL query, or the name of the table, and you synchronize the data into Elasticsearch. And in Elasticsearch, you can start write query that you want. And for that, I will show you how to. So when you go to the documentation, and I will go directly to Logstash. And in Logstash, I will show you also how to deal with documentation. So in Logstash, there is what we call input plugins, output plugins, filter plugins, and codec plugins. And I go to input plugin, and I can see existing plugins. So Logstash can read the data from Azure Hub, from Beats, from File, from GitHub, from any HTTP endpoint, from EMAP. So you can connect Logstash to your EMAP server and bring email and index them into Elasticsearch. And there is what we call JDBC. So JDBC, there is a configuration. Let's give you an example. So this is an example. So you need to provide the data connector. So if your database is MySQL, you need to download the driver for MySQL, or it's PostgreSQL, or just go to Maven or to the database website and download the driver. Because Logstash is based on Java, so you need the driver. You need to provide the class driver, the URL with the name. You might provide the password and the login. And this is the schedule. The schedule means that Logstash will bring the data every 5 minutes. And here you provide a SQL query. For example, if you have a table, you can just select étoile from a table, and all the data will go through Logstash and stream it into Elasticsearch. And now you have the data from SQL database into Elasticsearch. So that's usually what we do. If my application always using a PostgreSQL database, and all the transaction, all the business logic of the application, if it's an application that manages transaction, like an e-commerce application, that all the business flow go through PostgreSQL, because PostgreSQL or SQL database is made for that, for managing transaction, for making sure that the transaction happen. NoSQL database, it does not provide you these capabilities. So do not use Elasticsearch as a transactional database. For example, you can send a bulk ingest into Elasticsearch. So for example, I will say store 10 documents, and Elasticsearch can respond me. It tells me I stored 3 and I was unable to store 7. PostgreSQL, if I send 10 documents in a transaction, he will respond me if he stored 10 or no one, because it's one transaction, he can roll back everything. In Elasticsearch, if I want to use it as a transactional database, the developer need to manage the process of transaction or commit. So do not use Elasticsearch for that. Use Elasticsearch for search at scale, at speed, at relevance. Do not use it for. There are some use case or some e-commerce, international e-commerce, they have used Elasticsearch as a primary database. They have implemented inventory, they have implemented transaction, but this is some piece of code that you need to add to manage transaction, to make sure that transaction happen. And Elasticsearch provide you all necessary piece to manage. So when I send a request to the REST API and it respond me, it give me if it's stored correctly or not. So I need to read the response and manage the transaction. So that's the idea. We'll go to
Next one.
next one is from
Anas Andrade.
Anax. Yeah.
Yes.
Can we easily index text from inside file, PDF, doc, and TXT, and then perform a search to retrieve those documents? If yes, how could we go about doing? Okay, nice question. So for this, you have two choices. You can use I will not recommend to go with workplace search, because workplace search is a paid software, and it's more it's like an intranet search engine. So for that, I will suggest to go with Elasticsearch directly and use what we call ingest mapper. Let me just yes, attachment plugin. To index. Anyway, there is a plugin. I don't remember the name, but the idea is what we do usually is we capture the content of the file as a base 64, and we send it directly to Elasticsearch. And in Elasticsearch, there is a concept that is called ingest node. Ingest node means that Elasticsearch will intercept the data and do some stuff before indexing the document. And how it do that? It do that through some plugins. And there is a plugins called attachments something. I will look for the name exactly. And this plugin use what we call Tika, Apache Tika. It uses this framework. So this framework is really very powerful to read any format of document, text, PDF, Word, PowerPoint, and most of documents. So it uses this document to convert base 64 content to text. So if it's a PDF, it will bring it to text, and then you index it as a text field, and you search behind. And most of the application, most of web application that use crawler, most of them they use behind the scene Tika. And Tika can use also what we call the Desert Act. Desert Act for OCR means that if you have scanned picture or scanned document in PDF, so you need to go through an OCR and get the content of the document. So this is very useful. And the ingest plugin that I told you, it used this Tika process to convert document, PDF, text. In one of the use cases we worked, there is a customer that when he receives some emails, they save the email as MSG file and send it to Drive for indexing. And also sometimes they take some screenshot from web application and they store them. And behind there is a process that read this document, listen on this document, take the content and send it back to Elasticsearch. So you can simply use this plugin. Okay.
Yes.
Second question is very long.
Yes.
Smart City project 999, 13 hectare urbanization. As you know, the evolution of the market is that while some vendors focus on the width and depth of functionality they offer, others like us are starting with the small step, increasingly moving direction of the awareness in techno IoT. One of the key takeaways to adopt an agnostic standard. How do you see the approach? Step by step with national capacity. Can someone explain me this? It looks an interesting question.
Yes, actually, Yasim, the guy who asked the question is in the group. I don't know if he can talk direct.
See, able to do Microsoft for Guevara. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Guevara.
Hello.
Hello.
You are hearing me?
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you for your fantastic presentation.
Thank you so much.
And the question, it's a strategic question. Mm-hmm. As I know, Casablanca have a pilot smart city, and mm-hmm. I suppose that maybe you have some information about the experience. Why I made this question is because we are starting the project for smart city in Cape Verde, and we are starting from scratch. So as you inform in your presentation, Elasticsearch is for scalability. And when you use smart city, we have Internet of Things, and we will have a huge data.
Yes.
And we will have development in vertical and horizontal.
Exactly.
And this is an opportunity to a new market, even in the urban area, even in the ICT.
Yeah.
So can be an opportunity to grow building capacity for national technician, not for international vendors.
I see exactly. Yeah.
How do you see this approach as an opportunity to create an ICT capacity, national ICT capacity for smart cities development?
We as one of, just to give you an idea, we are part of a group of company that is more involved also in the regulation of the market, and we do a lot of type approvals, and effectively we started getting a lot of requests from vendor that is providing IoT devices like GPS tracker and the phone devices that are coming with SIM embedded inside. And there is a missing piece of the legal party, because most of these devices are bringing the data outside of the country. And from here, the regulator is starting a huge framework on regulating these data. So the idea is how to build a national, what we call a national IoT gateway. Means that all the devices, all the IoT devices that come inside a country need to communicate with the network within this country and need to send data to a central gateway in the country. And the government need to have a clear eyes on the data, what happened exactly, and decide what the data exactly to share with the vendor. So that's the major challenge. At the national level, yes, we need a technology that need to be scalable to bring all the data generated by all the IoT devices and bring it to a national warehouse, process it, and then choose what are the data that I can share with the vendor at an aggregated level. For example, let's take the example in Algeria. Actually, if you bring a GPS tracker to Algeria, you need to use a national SIM card. You don't have the ability to bring a device with a SIM connected in roaming, because it brings the data outside of the country. So there are regulations that need to start. The regulation need to be here. The framework of the regulation need to be here. And from that point, yes, Elasticstack as a technology can help a lot in building this ecosystem of IoT. For example, most of IoT devices are very standardized, and they need to send the data through a specific protocol that called MQTT. And this MQTT, generally, those are what we call a data stream broker that bring this data. And from that broker, we can stream this data into Elasticsearch. The most important is when we bring it into Elasticsearch, we can see what happened exactly at a deep level, what information that are sent from sensor in a highway, how many vehicle that is transiting, how many temperature, pollution, the humidity of the earth, and many use cases we can develop from all this data that we bring together into Elasticsearch. Also, because it's a sensitive data that it can be secured, that can be encrypted, we can give different level of access to different users depending on the use case they want. One of the important thing also in Elasticstack is that it can support what we call the multi-tenancy. Multi-tenancy, that it means it's a national infrastructure that is managed, let's say, at the national level. There is a digital agency that have the technical knowledge of the system. Then they don't necessarily know what every department from the government need to do with the data. So they can create multi-tenancy, and every department can access to what they need exactly. So there is a digital agency that manage the technical system and give access to different department at the government level, and every department, depending on their scope, they are seeing the data that they have to process. So yes, I agree with you that there is a big opportunity with smart cities, with IoT. Yes.
Okay. And Brosi and Kevin, they have to lead this new wave.
Yes.
Thank you for this.
This is a new era. Yeah, this is a new era. Yeah. Yeah, actually, we see many different initiatives, for example, and most of them, they just start, let's install some camera and bring what's happening in different area. But the idea is not just collecting the data and bring it together somewhere. We need to create use cases from this data. It's like what happened with telecom operator. So at the moment, most of them are, let's say, are CSP, are communication service provider, and they are starting transforming their business into digital service provider. They start providing digital services. But the most important with IoT is that they are now going to be a DSP, an ESP. That means that, let's say exactly, digital, it's not just a digital service provider, but it's a digital service enabler. Means that with the national infrastructure that I have, I'm enabling other business to run their business. And IoT is the best example of this transformation, how telecom operator, they can enable IoT vendor to provide different use cases on the top of their technology. Now with smart cities, government can also be part of this challenge and be, let's say, a digital service enabler through regulation, through jurisdiction, the law, enforcement law, because a lot of data is in a big challenge.
Okay.
Hope I give you my vision of the topic. It's a trending topic at this moment.
Yeah, we will continue in another session then with Brosi and Kevin.
Okay, of course, you are welcome.
Okay. Thank you.
It will be very pleasure for me to exchange with you on this topic.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Fantastic presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yasim. Just to move before we move into the next question, Yasim. Yet in this space of smart city and more in the question of Guevara about building the national capacity. Okay, I want to add we need to build the continental capacity, because most of this knowledge we go to get them from Europe or from the US, okay, to bring this capacity to our people here. And now today, with the internet and spaces like this, we can in our continent, okay, start to develop, start to sharing the knowledge and to grow this knowledge, because I think especially because we understand the environment better than the guys that are coming from Europe or US. They have another kind of environment. So like you talk about in these two examples you give about Algeria and your country, how the government is struggling to put the law in place to regulate. Okay, it will be great to actually hear this story, hear this experience, and talk, because I strongly believe we have different kind of environment, different kind of challenges we need to deal with, and more we are sharing in the continent between the nations, and at the professional, at the each person, like this conversation we have, more we will grow and save the country a lot of investment, because I believe going to bring capacity from the outside, it costs the country a lot. But if we go near shore in the continent, we can find people like you or other people who can together with in budget build and solve the same problem as a nation or as an individual. Okay, and Kevin, I don't know if you want to read the question from the
we have we have two more questions. One from Dino Elder. Is there any use case of ALK for revenue assurance management? And the other question is ALK a big data platform? Is there on the Zoom? Yes, if you
Okay.
if you want to take a look.
Yeah. So so Dino Helder is someone from the telco industry, I guess, because he is talking about revenue assurance. Or anyway, if we talk about revenue assurance management, there are different kind of revenue. The revenue, some kind of business process to avoid loss in the revenue. So the first one is how to combat fraud. So in Elasticsearch, yes, is a big data platform. So we don't need to have a big data platform like Hadoop or other. It's itself is a big data platform. It's scalable, means that I can bring all the data from different sources inside same place. Now, the most important for fraud detection, for example, is I need to be in real time. For example, in telco or in banking, if I detect fraud 13 minutes after the action or 1 hour after the action, it's already done. The fraud action has been taken. I need to detect it in real time and block it. And this can be done only if I have scalable speed, high performance platform like Elasticsearch, and that can provide also machine learning. There are different platforms that provide the same capability, but that take a lot of time to integrate them because it's not a stack. If I take, for example, the Hadoop ecosystem, there is around 10 to 15 tools that need to integrate them together to have a big data platform. And when we have 10 or 15 components and we need to spread the data between different platform, from collection, processing the data, storing the data, streaming the data, calculating metrics, and detecting suspicious behavior, and then take action, that can take more than 10 to 15 minutes. With Elasticsearch, it's different. It's a stack. It's really compatible, and there is only 3 or 4 components. So I can bring quickly the data with Logstash into Elasticsearch. I have a machine learning job that I can design quickly with different metrics, and they can feed the data in real time. And in real time, I can detect suspicious behavior. For example, in telco, we define quickly machine learning model to detect SIM box card. So they have a specific behavior. So, and in every 10 minutes, if one SIM card have a specific behavior that is not the normal, I get quickly an alert. And from this alert, I can take an action using a webhook. Webhook means that I can send a request to another system to block this SIM card. And this can happen in 5 minutes from the action that the fraud starts. The same logic can be applied to a banking system. So a banking system is not generating huge data as the telco or as the security space. So it can be done very quickly, collecting the data, process it, and running a machine learning job and detect an anomaly or a suspicious behavior and take an action. An action I can notify quickly an agent that need to block the transaction. I can lost 1-2 transactions, but the third transaction, I'm sure that I will be blocked. Now, I can go beyond to revenue assurance. Actually, most of people, we talk about business assurance. It's more than revenue assurance. So business assurance, let's say simply, I don't have visibility what is happening in a business area, and they don't have the visibility in real time. With Elasticsearch, I can have this visibility in real time, especially with observability. The ability to bring all the data together in one place can power the visibility. And this is the most important for business assurance. If I have the visibility of the big picture, I can do more risk assessment quickly. Now, if you want to talk specifically about business assurance, we have many use cases that we have implemented in telco. For example, we collect different record from different switches, and we re-rate the event, and we compare the price with the re-rating price, and we detect if there is any difference. So when we raise alert to say, yeah, there is an issue somewhere. There is also a kind of use case related to what we call data integrity. Data integrity means that I have different database in my system, and all these databases are holding information related to the same entity, which is the customer. So I have CRM with customer information, I have billing with customer information, I have the portal with customer information, and I have different systems with the same identity. So I can bring them together into Elasticsearch, correlate them, and compare these data to see where is the difference. So maybe in the billing, he has an address, but in CRM or in another system has different address, different patterns. So I can correlate and detect some anomalous behavior. For example, one customer that come with an identity, and because it's a risky customer, he changed the identity and bring me another identity. Yeah, but somewhere in another system, he give me the same email address. So this is the shared ID between two entities, and I can detect it's the same entity, and I can raise an alert to do some action. So there are effectively different use cases. For example, let's say there are Uber that implemented different use cases with this. Some e-commerce website, especially that some website that they get promoted by command from different user, and they use machine learning of Elasticsearch to detect that it's a kind of the same command from different places, but it's the same person who is writing the command just to promote the let's say a hotel or a restaurant or something else. Same thing in an e-commerce website. There is always, you are doing transaction with different identifier. Maybe you are using same Visa card but with different identifier, or sometimes using the same identifier with different Visa card, and the fraudulent agent will always provide a pattern to relate all these transactions, and this cannot be detected by using human observation. It's only machine learning that can learn and detect, yes, there is an email shared between this entity and this entity, so maybe it's the same customer that is raising the same order but from different account. In Elasticsearch also there is a graph application that can show the relation between entity, for example, then that help to detect fraud, especially in banking. I can see, for example, that my IBAN account is used in different transaction, and these transactions are related to different company, but there is my IBAN. I'm receiving money, I'm sending money, and somehow I may be the same holder of all these company, but I'm doing this transaction behind different identifier. So yes, there are a lot of, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, how is this to normalize data from Elasticsearch? If I want to implement some machine learning algorithms, what do you advise to normalize how the data into Elasticsearch, or using a Python language and then
Yes.
engineer? What do you?
Yeah. Okay, I will share with you a slide, but this slide is for another meeting, but I will share it with you. So I will just talk quickly about what we call ECS, Elastic Command Schema. This is an example of how we use Elastic Command Schema in telecom. So in telecom industry, I have different sources of data. And I know that the entity that I'm tracking that interests my use case is subscriber. So every equipment will generate a log with a set of fields. Let's say it will generate, and every source or every equipment is related to a vendor. Let's say Cisco will generate a log in a different format. Nokia, Huawei will generate different format, and every vendor have a specific format, and every vendor have a specific naming of the fields, and also have a specific logic of encoding the content of the field. So what I will do, I will define a command schema. I know my entity is the subscriber, and I know the subscriber have a device. So the device have an EMEA, And I know in this device, they plug a SIM card. So I know the SIM card need to have an ID, which is the MZ. And I know that the subscriber have a phone number, which is the MSESDN. And I know what the subscriber is doing on network, is doing calls, sending SMS, doing connection, or exchanging money between subscriber in mobile money, or writing comment on different web pages, on Twitter, on Facebook. So what I will do, all the log that I bring, I will make sure to rename and format the field to use the same schema. So I will force the schema to be used in the beginning. I will make a convention. So it means I will write any information related to my entity in a sub-object called sub, and have some attribute, MSESDN, MZ, EMEI. So even if Nokia send me served EMEI, I will rename it to MS EMEI. It's like in security space, you have different switches, different router, and everyone send you source IP, destination IP, IP server, host IP. I will define a convention which is already defined by Elastic in ECS, and they use host.ip. And to differentiate source with destination, they use src.ip and dest.ip. So it's a convention. And from that point, I will start building my machine learning job. I will build my application. I will never change my schema. I will make sure to convert the data from sources to respect this schema. And for that, I will use Logstash. That's it. And Logstash, we just ask, whenever you find a field that I'm looking for, you just rename it to the field I want. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's the power of, you have to know what you want to do with your use case, and you have to model the data of the use case. And it's a business, it's related to the business case. For example, if I'm in the space of the banking, I know that the entity is subscriber, and I know the subscriber can have many accounts, and for every account they can have different Visa card. For every Visa card they can have a risk capacity and so on. So I can model the data to go through a schema, and the schema is business oriented. So that's the big picture of ECS. And it's because ECS, Elastic was able to build Elastic CM observability. So all the job they are doing is the data sources. So any data sources need to send the data in a specific format, and that's it. And if you have a specific format of the data that is not supported by bits, you need to look at the ECS and know how to rename your field and how to format them to. So your friend Kevin is Logstash, and there are a lot of filter in Logstash. And if there is no filter that you are looking for, there is a generic filter called Ruby, when you can open the bracket and write Ruby code directly, and you can do anything you want. Yeah, you can do any transformation you want.
Yeah, we can read. You should.
Nice. And I can say that the format that is used is a dictionary. Is what I say, what the Python from machine learning use. You know, when we need to create our data frame, and then create a future engineers, and then choose some machine learning algorithms. I see that it would be easy. It would be really easy to join the Elasticsearch and then choose the algorithms from machine learning we want to use to create our business case.
Yes, totally agree. if you want your specific machine learning algorithm, yes, you can just stream the data from Logstash, from Elasticsearch to your Python program and start processing. Yes.
And we have the last question in here from Max Ramos. Using this stack of technology, could you draw any architecture on a real solution, e-commerce, social media, or another?
Yeah.
Max?
Yeah, quickly answer. And I don't know if any of the guys in the group, Zoom group, want to do some comments.
Thank you. It was fantastic.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Yassine. It was a very clear presentation. The answer to my question, you were precise explaining what I was, what I want with Elasticsearch. A great presentation. Hopefully, Elasticsearch will solve my problems soon.
Thank you, Cruz. Thank you. You are very welcome. I will be in touch with Kevin and Brucey.
Yes.
As I'm now involved in your community, so I will be very happy if you have a question. If you take it like if you go to the discussion forum and you post a question, and they come to respond.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
take it
nice,
easy.
nice.
You can send me an email with your use case, with your problem, and I can do my best if provide you some hints, provide you some help. You are really welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, Yassine, and we will teach you Creole to scale and speed our journey in learning all about Elasticstack and other stuff.
You are very welcome. You are very welcome. I'm believing of what we say, a knowledge that is not shareable. It's not a good knowledge.
Yeah.
We get more knowledge when we share our knowledge with the others.
Yes.
One last question here. Can you with Kibana produce reports with templates?
Can you repeat your question?
I was saying that if with Kibana report, we can generate PDF reports on a specific template.
Yes. I will let me give an example. Let me give an example. Yeah. So this is a view of Kibana. So in Kibana, you can define different spaces depending on your business entity. So if I go here, I will not see data that is here. So it's a kind of security level. So in visualization, I have different type of visualization. So I can choose a table and bar, line, pie, time series visualization. I can combine maps and matrix. Then I can go and join them in the same dashboard. So in the dashboard, I can just go here, for example, edit, and I can add existing visualization. So I can bring them together.
Oh, that's great.
And then there is an option to share. I can share a permanent link, so I can send an HTML link so the manager can view it. And in I guess in the gold version, there is what you can share as a screenshot or PDF, and you can send it directly by email. Otherwise, you can just take the permanent link or the short link, and you can embed it as a frame in your application directly. So the end user can view the dashboard, can add filter and do some stuff. For example, here I can filter on the data some here, like here, for example, I can filter the data. So I can here and remove the filter. So, and then you can.
Okay.
And I'm one of the people that prefer promote the transparency in an organization. Experience show that sharing document, email, it's not really efficient. I prefer create an access to the end user and give him read only to a dashboard. So I say, never ask me to send you or email you. You have access to the dashboard. You do what you want. You are on read only, and that's okay. And that's what we do with most of executive manager. They put a monitor on the left of his office, and we put the dashboard in full screen, and we add also an option to here. For example, I can auto refresh every 15 seconds. And just I need to look at my dashboard every 2 minutes, and I can see my metrics are moving. So I don't need to. So at 6 o'clock before leaving the office, the executive manager know what are the important metrics, and he can go sleep without asking operations or technical team to share the dashboard tomorrow or so everyone is autonomous, and this is the idea behind Elasticsearch, is scalable, real-time, and relevance. That's
Okay, that's nice. But Kibana don't display us API. So if we don't want to use their interface,
there are two different way. So the first one is you can build the dashboard with Kibana, but you choose to use the API to display the dashboard differently in your application. That's one way. The second way, which is a little hard, you can write your query directly and interact with Elasticsearch and bring you the data and display it. This is a little hard. It's like when you want to add new stuff, you need to change your code. So I will just give you an example. So Elasticsearch, or Elastic, which is the company behind this stack, has built what we call Elastic User Interface. It's a set of components built in React. If you want to use the same experience of buttons, of stuff like this, and you can use it in your React application. For example, I will show you some stuff related to charts. So there are some components like this. You need just to give the data back from Elasticsearch to a component, and it display automatically the layout. Or you can use any framework you want. If you are familiar with Django, with different UI framework, you can interact with Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch, you can send, for example, in one query,
Yeah.
You can ask for an aggregation. You can, yeah, give me the average amount of my e-commerce application per product, and it gives you an aggregated response, and you can display it in a table, in a chart, and anything you want.
Okay,
anything,
that's great.
anything you
Thanks for the explaining.
It's okay.
One last advice.
Just once again, there is another way of presenting the yeah. I agree with you. The way Kibana is displaying dashboard, it's, if you want to go quickly, it's not really beautiful. But there is something called Canva, and in Canva you have more control about how about the layout. I'll just give you an example. You can like, for example, so Canva, behind you use SQL. You use most of the time SQL to bring the data, and you have a lot of control on how to display the data. You can bring image, you can do a lot of CSS. You can really enhance your experience to show a beautiful dashboard, and this involves knowledge about CSS.
Wow.
That's about CSS. It's
Yes,
good.
this is really nice. I know Kibana from before, but I never use the canvas.
Yeah.
And this is some kind of infographics.
Exactly. Yeah, it gives you the same experience like Photoshop. So you have more control on the object. If you can squeeze object, you have more control on the layout.
And then you can share this as a link too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I guess I have a sharing link. Yes, here I can share. I can share it here. Yeah, I can share it as a PDF.
A report.
Yeah.
That's
I can share
very
it on a website directly, so it can be displayed directly on a website, because behind it's the HTML and CSS.
Yes. Actually, a company
and look, and behind every matrix, it's a SQL query. So this is they use Elasticsearch SQL connector. It's behind it convert to Elastic specific query language, but to go quickly, you can write really SQL language.
Yes, this is good. This is very nice.
And it's also, you can schedule it to be auto refresh. For example, I can set on auto refresh. Here I can refresh. I can refresh every 10 seconds. And it's on the fly. It means that the data is coming, and the Canva dashboard is refreshing. So you can see that metrics are going up. So that's bring another experience.
Yes. Guys, is 17 now. 17 now. 7 p.m. So if there's no more question, I think we should thank Yasin 1 million times more and wrap this session. For me, Kevin was this strong. Yes.
Yeah. One last question. It's more like advice. Okay. I'm trying to use Elasticsearch with Docker. I want to hear some advice from you.
Go with Docker Compose.
Docker Compose, yes.
Don't try to, Docker Compose is very flexible, because there are some, you will not start by the easy way. The easy way is that you provide parameter in the command line. It's not, it's not good. the idea behind is that you scale easily your cluster. So in your cluster, you may need 2-3 nodes of Elasticsearch. You need 1-2 instance of Kibana, 1 instance of Logstash. So a simple Docker Compose, a YAML format, you put your parameter, you give a real name to your node, and then you start your life is easy. That's what I do most of the time, even in training that I provide on my laptop. I have Docker Compose, which bring me quickly 2 cluster, every cluster with 2-3 nodes, and then I can simulate what I want. So go with Docker Compose.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If you are a little familiar with Kubernetes, go with Kubernetes also. But start first with Docker. It's important to understand the concepts of Docker, how Docker is working, because Kubernetes is a containerizing of Docker.
Yeah, I know that.
So go with Docker Compose. It's even recommended.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin.
Yes, Jackson. You are here with us. Lots of time, huh? You were with us in Cape Verde, like 2 hours.
It's
and a few other minutes.
It's a nice. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
How you feel? How you feel about that?
No, it's good. It's good. I really was surprised with the which show me that in your country there are people that working on real use cases.
That's nice. Bruce is a master guy here on tech.
No, it's really amazing, and I guess we can do more stuff together. We can do more stuff together. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it also.
The most important is not how many time we need to organize, or how many time you need to organize a meeting or a meetup. The most important, it should be on a regular basis.
Exactly.
That's the most. If we can do a meeting like this every 2 months, every 3 months, that's good.
That's good. Yes, I agree with you.
Because
totally.
the value is in repeating the action.
Yes, and I think we will schedule because this is going like a really awesome introduction to Elasticsearch. Okay, and I think I feeling we need to go a little bit more and do a work case, a use case, and put it from the start to the end. Okay.
To the end. Yes.
Yes. We will keep in touch through Kevin to schedule maybe in the next month or a few days from here to see how we can do 1 or 2 hours like this, but more technical.
Exactly, more hands-on. We practice some, yeah.
Yes, just with a new team, like not what is Elasticsearch, but up and running with Elasticsearch. Choose one of the products or specifically the Elasticsearch for search or the security. I think there will be people who will wanna go deep on this.
Listen, I have one architecture here to propose. The Yassin will use the Elasticsearch to get the data, okay, from where we choose that will be our business. And I will choose some algorithms from machine learning, provide a model, deploy this model, and you will make some application that we can use the model to show the last information, you know, or the last results
yes,
of your business. Okay.
yes, I agree
Yes.
with you.
Okay, this will be like more than one section, but I think we will try to do that because in this section I was really interesting to see the elastic, but for personal me, I want to try it. I want to go and
Start with
start to, yes,
Eat it.
build
Yeah.
something, because like you show is huge, this stack, but clearly you see the benefits for one organization. This
Exactly.
observability capability that Elasticsearch give you, I think all the company need them, like they need a mobile app or a web app, because
Exactly.
one thing is guessing and guessing and trying. The other thing is seeing the metrics happen, seeing the aggregations in real time, and then making some decision or guessing the next step. Okay, so for us, we will continue as a developer community to try to go deep, but when we are going deep, we want a real case. So we will talk to you during the next days to see how we can bring a real simple but meaningful
Exactly.
user case, so we can spend 4 hours, 6 hours in 2 or more sections and build it, so we can go step by step in the Elasticsearch stack. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Good.
Sure.
And then
So I think that's it. Yasim,
Okay.
big shout out to you for taking time. We send you a million invites to come
Oh,
to
thank you,
our
thank you.
conference.
You really, you don't need. It's really a pleasure. Not. Yeah, we are here together. We are talking, discussing. You are learning, and I'm also learning from you. So
Yeah, and
just stop.
the invite is when you feel safe to travel to Cape Verde. Just
Sure.
travel, man. Will have a bed.
That what I will do. I will never. Listen, next time what I will do, the time I have the opportunity, I will just take my phone, some money in my. I will take this. That's it.
Yes.
No
And,
plan,
that's it.
nothing.
and we will give you cachupa
Awesome.
refogado.
Okay, thank you, guy. Thank you, really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yes,
That's it.
thank you.
It was a pleasure, man.
Okay, keep in touch. Have a
Of
good
course, of
night,
course.
and thank you. Really, thank you for the exchanges.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys,
And
thanks
keep in
for
touch.
attending. Stay tuned in the Facebook group. We will publish the next speaker and the next team, so we can follow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Stay safe. Stay good. Bye.
Okay,
Bye,
bye
guys.
bye.
Yeah, seria de live.